Oh, hey ho there, everyone. This is Future Maureen here, and my goodness, I'm so sorry to be butting in here. I try to keep my presence on the down low, but sometimes I just gotta step into the present to get things worked out. Now, here's the thing. Those people over at UCA, the ones I work for, they're having some issues getting together, making sure they get Dr. Satan Part 2, Hollywood Horror, or whatever it is they call it, up and running smoothly. So they took a little break and decided they were going to record something else. Now, there should be something along the lines of Dr. Satan in the next 2 weeks, and I'm going to make sure they stay on that because, they got a promise they got to fulfill. They got a series they got to finish, and I'm going to make sure they do that. But in the meantime, I hope they all enjoyed this episode and y'all have a good time. And I'll see all you nice people in the future, okay? Okay, bye-bye now.
I'm starting to feel the vibes. I'm starting to feel the spooky season vibe. It's great. I know we're technically supposed to give it a little space, but if people are allowed to start celebrating Christmas season at the beginning of November, which again, don't begrudge anyone for that. I start to feel a little bit of that too. I work at a theme park, but if that's allowed to happen, we're allowed to start feeling the October vibes September 1st, bare minimum. So
No, yeah, we've talked about this previously.
yeah.
Sometimes I feel like a man without a country amidst all my like alternative and trendy and cool friends because I fucking love Christmas.
And yes, this has been well documented, well established in the past, and it bears repeating. But here's the thing, Alan, you don't have to feel that way because here's the thing. I love Christmas too, and I'm ready to embrace it when I'm ready to embrace it. Because once I embrace it, oh man, I love it.
I still think Santa Claus is Coming to Town is the perfect Santa Claus origin story.
It's pretty fucking good.
Yeah,
I mean, you can't go wrong with that. I don't like. Okay, there's been Rankin Bass has covered 2 Santa Claus origin stories. They did that, and they did The Life and Adventures of Santa Claus.
I have seen Life and Adventures. I still rank Coming to Town as the top one.
Considering Rankin Bass did both The Hobbit and The Return of the King, you can feel the Tolkien energy of those specials in that one. And funnily enough, for those of you who don't know, The Life and Adventures of Santa Claus was written by L. Frank Baum.
Huh.
Yeah, so you have the creator of The Wizard of Oz and the Oz stories had his own idea about where Santa came from. So fun story. It's got fairies and goblins and elves and stuff in it too. Very high fantasy stuff. Santa Claus is Coming to Town, definitely more grounded. And in its own way, which is a little bit silly to say, considering the main villain is Burgermeister Meisterburger. And
yes, maybe the best named character in all of fiction.
I concur. And also voiced by Paul Frees, which makes it even better.
Yep.
That being said, welcome to Under Christmas Analysis. We're not quite there yet, but we will get there probably November 1st. So, or maybe November 3rd. Let's be generous. Let's save a little room for Dia de los Muertos.
How many calories is soy milk eggnog?
Today it's just
80 calories and half a cup. I'll make it work.
Sounds good. I could, I like soy milk. I'd have to try. I want to try soy milk eggnog. Of course, I'm not really a soy milk person either. I'm more rice milk. But man, we're really revealing a lot this time, aren't we?
Yeah. I just because it's the lowest calorie, I've come to appreciate almond milk.
Almond milk, I can deal with. Almond milk's good. I can do almond milk. Rice milk. The thing about rice milk is if you get like a case of it, you can put it in your like pantry and it like stores forever. It feels like that stuff is like borderline non-perishable. It feels like as long as you keep it sealed. And it's nice. It's nice to have a milk alternative that doesn't spoil.
Yeah. Also, hey everyone, just a note about oat milk. It is great. Oat milk's great. It's also like 1 cup is maybe 30 calories less than whole milk.
If you're doing that thing, take that into account. This has been a PSA from your friends at Undercooked Analysis. And who are those friends today? It's me, David King, and over there it's Alan Cheney.
Hi, how we doing?
I think they're doing good. Also in the booth is Future Maureen. She's not in the booth with us right now. She's in the booth in the future, probably editing this episode, which, she's been a little bit more on top of recently. I genuinely appreciate hiring future Maureen and kicking future David to the curb. I think he's enjoying his retirement, even though I literally kicked him to the curb and threw a suitcase at him and said, "Leave my house,
what?
you cretin."
Firing future David sounds like a metaphor for suicide. So I guess what I wanted to ask is everything okay, buddy?
Yes, things are fine. Because the thing is, future David is probably the more optimistic version of present me. So, and future Maureen just is weirdly enough a fixed state in time because she's never in the present with us. Somehow she's always in the future and just projecting back to the past. So she's literally a time traveler, and I think she's a possible future because if we remember in her story, she died. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, yep, she's in the future booth looking at me, shaking her head. Yeah, okay, sorry, Maureen. All right. Hey, Alan, it's time for Short and Shivery.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Hey, but on the plus side, what we have been sent is not from Rorshack Rorshan, and it's not from Short Story 1. As much as I love you guys or girls or everything in between, we still don't know what the hell you two are, or even if you're the same person or not. We do occasionally get entries from other people these days, and we're not just reading pulp. This one's a bit of a mystery. I will grant it that. These stories, these 5 very short stories, were submitted to us by Julia Grane, with the only note being, I wrote these and you can read them out and tell viewers what you think of them with 3 exclamation points.
Okay. That's what submitting stories to us is supposed to be. Thank you.
Exactly. Okay, but I want to preface this by saying just by reading the titles and seeing some of the syntax of one of the stories that I glanced at, I'm a little worried.
Okay.
I'm a little worried that now I don't want to judge too harshly until we get into them, but I'm a little worried that Short Story 1 and Rorshack Rorshan have started a writing trend.
Oh no.
I don't want to judge it until we get into it, but I'm just going to go ahead and give you the link to the first story, which is titled, I Decided to Keep My Hair Rather Than Find Out Where My Son Is Being Kept After He Was Abducted. Which is about as Short Story 1 / Rorshack Rorshan as you can get.
Hey, listeners, let me level with the listeners of this podcast for a fucking moment. David brought me here today and said, don't worry, it's not going to be Short Story 1 or Rorshack Rorshan stories.
Did I lie?
Which is one of those things that is apparently not technically a lie, but also fuck you.
Listen, when I read what people send us, and if people are sending us stuff like this is what we read. I want to make sure the people are getting their feedback. Recently, it's not like Paul Ernst is going to take our feedback and do anything with, because Paul Ernst has been dead for a while. So,
given how little we know about Paul Ernst, we don't know that.
That's true. He might be a necromancer or a lich or both. Because,
pulp writer and demi-lich Paul Ernst.
The only reason Paul isn't writing anymore is when you're a demi-lich, you're just a floating skull. He has no hands anymore, so he can't write.
He's just looking for someone with a typewriter to scream at.
He dictates everything to them.
Now make him kill Elon Musk.
I would love to see how Paul Ernst would tackle modern day billionaires. Anyway, this story is literally 1 page, so I think we're going to be okay. Do you mind if for penance for what I have done, though?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Okay. I missed having hair on my head, and I had turned fully bald. I have tried every sort of treatment that supposedly claimed that could bring hair back to my bald head, but all had disappointingly failed. Then I heard of a man who could bring hair back through any one of his secrets answers, and I grew curious. I went to this man, and I paid him his charge, and he didn't use any fancy chemical or any kind of science. He simply got out a pen and wrote something on my bald head. I wasn't allowed to see it.
Great.
Okay.
Then hair started growing around my head, and I looked at him in amazement. He told me that he wrote down one of his secrets on my bald head, and my hair grew over it as it was covering it all up. I only had hair for a full month before it started falling out again, and I could read what he had written on my head.
I stole my neighbor's ball, was what I found, which had been written on my head by this guy, and it was one of this man's many secrets. Now, it also dawns on me that Julia Grane could just be a pseudonym for Rorshack Rorshan and or Short Story 1. So
yeah, maybe he's trying to get back on the show.
Julia, if you're real and you hear this, can you please acknowledge that I don't like making assumptions, because I think assumption makes an ass of you and me, but my God, is this come clean with us, please?
Maybe this is the newest art movement.
That's what I was saying at the beginning. I think this is a new writing style that is now caught on because of our show.
And I went straight back to that man, and he told me that the strength and importance of a secret reflects the strength and length of life the hair will live up to. I told him that I wanted hair that would last 30 years. He looked at me and told me that it would be expensive, and I told him that I had money.
From where? I don't know. He told me that he will give me a call when he is ready to work on my bald head. I waited for months, and in that time, my eldest son also went missing. Where'd he go?
Where do you think he went? Where the fuck do you think he went?
We even got the police involved. Then the man phoned me and told me that he could start working on my head, as he had a secret that could give me hair to last 30 years.
I paid the man, and he wrote something on my head, and I wasn't allowed to see it as usual. My hair grew back even stronger and more amazing, and I asked him what his latest secret was.
The latest secret of mine, which I wrote the truthful answer to, on your head, is the whereabouts of your missing son. That secret of mine is strong. It will give a long life to your full head of hair, the man told me.
So it was he who abducted my son, and only he knows where my son is being kept, and he wrote the secret whereabouts of my son on my head, and my beautiful hair is covering it all up. So it's either my hair or my son? I decided to go with hair, as my son is a failure anyway.
Beautiful, no notes.
Yeah. This certainly
is the genre fiction that we have committed to now.
Okay, no. I don't think it's him.
You don't think so?
Because this is such perfect setup and punchline.
It's very good.
Like, yeah, no, yeah.
Hey Julia, are you now a savant of this genre, or is this, because again, it has the hallmarks, right?
It has some of the hallmarks. It's missing a couple.
Yeah.
One, like, again, there's setup and punchline. There's a coherence to it.
Yes.
Two, it's missing my favorite Short Story 1 signature, which is one sentence that has fucking nothing to do with the rest of the story.
That's true. That's true.
So we'll see.
Okay. Okay. Well, one for one, that one was pretty funny at the end. Did genuinely make me laugh. So that's a win.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
All right.
1 down.
4 to go. Here's the next one. This one is titled, It's Time to Change Gerald's Clothes Again.
This is a really short one.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, this is good. All right, ready? Let's do it.
Let's go.
All right. Gerald was an awkward son of a bitch.
What made Gerald unique compared to other people is that whatever he wore affected the weather. If Gerald wore a coat, a hoodie, and other bulky woolly clothing, the weather would all of a sudden become rainy, windy, and cold. If Gerald wore a short and a shirt, the weather would suddenly turn sunny and nice in the middle of winter. Gerald, being a piece of shit who hated people, enjoyed causing misery by wearing certain clothings that would make the weather bad.
Gerald is the sole cause of climate change.
Gerald, you piece of shit.
What a motherfucker. When the village needed some sun, Gerald would purposely wear winter clothes to make it cold as the coldest winter on the hottest summer month. He has purposely destroyed farms and businesses by making the weather against them. Few homeless people had died because of Gerald, because he made it so cold by wearing winter clothes. Does he mean a few? But I mean, okay, fine. Who might have split hairs?
Okay. A gang of us wanted to teach Gerald a lesson, and we ganged up on him and beat him up pretty bad. We didn't mean to kill him, but we did. Woo! We buried him in some open field, and he was wearing winter clothes. On that field now, it had turned cold, no matter the time of season. A couple of us who beat him up to death dug him up to change his clothing to make it sunny. It was horrible, stinking work, but it did turn sunny. Although too much sun can have bad effects on the environment as well. And so every 2 months, one of us guys, whose fault it is for taking Gerald's life, takes a turn at changing his clothes.
My turn is coming up. Oh.
Okay, I'm back in the middle.
Yep. Get back. Join me over here, Alan. I'm still not convinced. I have a very pertinent question. What if you just stripped the corpse naked and just left it with no clothes?
Yeah. Would it just be like neutral weather all the time?
I mean, that wouldn't be so bad, right? Like, would the weather just be normal? Would normal weather patterns affect it, or would there just be no change? Would everything just be like a cool 65 degrees constantly?
Put him in a t-shirt and a pair of jeans.
Yeah, neutral weather.
Yeah.
What if you dress him up in a Halloween costume? Does it turn fall? Man.
Would it? Hold on. What is it? The amount of clothing he's wearing?
I have no fucking clue.
Is it the type of clothing? Because if you dressed him like Santa Claus, would it be like a snowy winter?
I have so many questions. The other one left me with no questions. This one does.
What if you dressed him like Jesus?
What if you dressed him like he was going to a good old fashioned, Greek house party at a university? Toga and the works.
Man.
Well, Gerald was a piece of shit anyway, so I'm glad he's
Gerald
dead.
sucks.
Gerald sucks shit. So anyway, that was number 2. Here's the third one.
Sure was.
I'm not saying it was number 2. I'm saying there was the second one we read, but you know what I mean. Anyway, this one's called My Children Are Addicted to Eating Nails. You wanna start us off, Alan?
Okay, 1 second.
Sure.
Like every Discord chat notification noise from you now feels like a threat.
I wish, if we just, this is why I'm so glad we've been doing so much pulp this year, because here's the thing. I'm reading these because guess who's waiting in the background? Guess who's got a little backlog of stories? That's right. It's our oldest friend. One of our oldest friends, and he's just waiting for us to read the mountain of work he sent us. I'm trying to space that out because we can't just do marathons of this. And yet here we are reading something that's adjacent, if not actually the same.
Like at this point, fuck it.
Yeah, that's fair. The next time where there's no pulp and no one sends us anything, I'm just gonna go back to Rorshack and be like, hey buddy, we're gonna do this now.
Man, I'd like. Okay, here's my pitch. My pitch right now is that the only way we're gonna do that again is if I get a headphone splitter and just bring DeMarcus in on one of these.
Can we?
Yeah, just expose someone new to
That's usually what we do with Rorshack Rorshan these days. The last one we did was us exposing the uninitiated.
I'll put out some feelers to the old Coffee and Pie crew and see if we can't get them individually in Short Story 1 Rorshack Rorshan roundup episodes.
That would be great. I miss those guys.
So my children are addicted to eating nails.
Mm-hmm.
And when they are done eating their own nails, I allowed them to eat mine. All right.
Like fingernails, toenails?
Hey, there's a direction. There's a direction I'm leaning in now.
Oh dear.
Okay. I think if this is not short story one, it is definitely someone influenced by them.
I would say if it's not short story one, and if it's not Rorshack Rorshan, who I'm still not convinced are not not the same person necessarily.
It is definitely someone familiar with their oeuvre, which means eggs.
Yep.
Okay.
You can't make an omelet without eating a few nails. I mean, breaking a few eggs.
All right, let me take that from the top.
Sure.
My children are addicted to eating nails, and when they are done eating their own nails, I allowed them to eat mine. When I had just 2 kids, Randy and Petey, uncapitalized Randy and capitalized Petey.
That's not a typo either. It's consistent.
Oh, good. I guess he didn't. Randy is not the favorite child.
Clearly not.
It was manageable, and after uncapitalized Randy and capital Petey ate their own nails on their hands and feet, I would allow lowercase Randy and uppercase Petey to munch on my nails on my hands and feet. So I never really had to use nail cutters anymore. I know there's something wrong with lowercase Randy and uppercase Petey with their addiction to eating and biting nails. I just never have the time to getting round to doing some... Boom! I just never have the time to getting round to doing something about it with work and other stuff.
This is absolutely a protagonist from one of these stories. Julia, if you're a real person, if you're actually a real person, I commend you for nailing the short story one tone.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if not,
there's a troubling possibility we are not discussing,
which
is this person's never heard of short story one, and someone else independently writes like this.
That the odds of that feel very unlikely, but it is a possibility, and the fact that could be a thing is very I don't know. I don't know, Alan.
Ooh.
Hey, I'm having a great time. Don't get me wrong.
I'm having a blast.
And by the way, this is hitting close to home. I'm a recovering nail biter, so I understand this.
Oh yeah, I am a nail biter. 100%.
Mm-hmm. So this I could see this. I wouldn't bite anyone else's nails, but I've certainly bitten mine.
The trick to fixing it is manicures.
Yes.
I've had 2 manicures in my life, and each time it comes with the realization that like there's a thing like as a nail biter, you can feel your fingernails pressing into like the sides of your fingers.
Yeah.
And when you get a manicure, they don't do that. And the urge to bite them is just, like, fucking gone.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to have to consider that. I've yet to have a manicure, but I've heard that before. You know what actually helped me a lot? It hasn't completely removed it, or it didn't completely remove it, but you know what did help a lot, weirdly enough, was the pandemic. Because I was like, I don't want my hands anywhere near my mouth.
Fair.
Mm-hmm. So there you go.
Anyway.
Anyway. TMI, the podcast. Then many years later, we had 2 more kids, Jonathan and Mikey, both uppercase. And just like the other 2, they also had an addiction to eating nails. It was more competitive now, and the 4 kids were always fighting each other as to who gets to eat my nails after they had eaten their own. They started getting nasty with each other, and some would sneak up on each other and eat the other nails while they were asleep.
Also, when guests came round, or other relatives, my 4 kids would ask whether they could eat their nails. Once, some of kids have been secretly... All right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Once, some of kids have been secretly eating other children's nails, and it had gotten our family into so much trouble. We don't get visitors anymore.
It's highly competitive now with the 4 boys, and really, some of them have been trying to bite off my finger when I allowed them to eat my nail. I guess they were trying to bite off my fingers so the others couldn't have my nails. They need real help, and I'm going to take them to a real psychologist straight away to get them examined.
I don't know if anyone out there is ready for me to read the next paragraph, Oh, wait, it's over.
That's it. It's done. Wow.
This one.
Are you a believer now? Are you a believer now, Alan? Oh, jeez.
This one.
This is the one I've liked the least.
Yes, it's poor.
No,
I'm trying to form a sentence here. This is not a bit right now. I am trying to form the correct words for the thoughts I'm having right now, and the words just aren't coming.
People have asked me before, David, why do you enjoy being the forever GM of a lot of your games? And I go, well, probably because I am also the one who subjects people to stuff like this on this podcast. I just like being in control of the situation.
Cool.
If I'm the one doing the blindsiding, it can't hurt me so bad.
This is the most nothing any one of these stories have ever been.
And this is even comparing it to some of the other ones that we have read?
Yeah. There's no, twist. It's, kind of gross. But otherwise, it's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It's... There... you know how they talk about how, eating celery... you burn more calories eating celery than you gain from eating, celery. That
yeah.
This is celery.
Well,
this is celery with some hot sauce on to kind of zhuzh it up, but it's
like a pinch of hot sauce though. There's hardly, you can kind of taste it, but it's not really there. There's no zest. There's no flavor.
Anyway, we got one more of these, right?
2 more.
Fuck me with a soft dick. All right.
Here comes the threat. This one is titled My grandmother always told me to eat with my mouth closed.
That notification noise. God.
This episode of UCA might as well be titled How I Traumatize Alan.
Okay.
I'll start. The one thing my grandmother always used to tell me is that I had to chew food with my mouth closed. I always did try to chew food with my mouth closed, but I couldn't help it, especially if whatever I was eating was super nice. It looked disgusting and wasn't proper manners to chew food with your mouth open. But my grandmother had another reason why you shouldn't chew food with your mouth open. A couple of months back, I was eating something amazingly good cooked by my grandmother, and my mouth wasn't closed. I was chewing away with my mouth open. I then heard something in my room. Oh boy.
Yeah, I ran up, and when I went inside, I saw with my own eyes a creature that should never belong in our world. It gave me a chopped off arm.
Yes.
It gave me a chopped off arm.
I could tell the chop was so clean.
And I asked this creature, why are you giving me this? You know, that question you ask in this situation. And the creature replied, you asked me to. And it looked like, oh man. It looked like a mutated tall fairy with horrid skin.
Boogeyman.
When I showed my grandmother, all right, is she showing her all right.
Are you showing the chopped off arm or are you showing the horrible fairy?
Yeah. When I showed my grandmother, she screamed and shouted at me.
This is why I always tell you to chew with your mouth closed, because when you chew with your mouth open, your moving lips are actually speaking another language, and these creatures can read lips so well, she warned me.
Nope. No. Nope. No.
It's too late. It's too late. It's too late.
Nope.
Are we done?
I'm dizzy.
I think for our survival, we might have to cut off the episode here.
Nope. Fuck it. We ball. Okay.
Oh, I need to breathe. Hang on. Okay.
So
Uh,
so I accidentally asked this creature to bring me someone's arms, and I couldn't help myself but to experiment further. I kept ignoring my grandmother's warnings and chewed my food with my mouth open. And not knowing what I was asking these creatures to bring me with my lips, as I didn't even understand their language.
You could speak. They can speak English.
Yeah! These creatures brought me arms, legs, and even a head because I had asked them. Every time my grandmother shouted at me for it, and she burnt the chopped off limbs.
I'm glad your grandmother is complicit in you doing this. Oh my god. Last week, I was bored and decided to eat something with my mouth open. Then I heard my grandmother scream. I went into her room, and what I saw was my grandmother chopped into many pieces. I couldn't believe it, and the creature just smiled because it did what I asked it to. It then disappeared. Oh.
My grandmother is still in pieces. What have I done?
Most short story one story, hands down.
100%.
Oh my god. I came into this hungry. I haven't had dinner yet.
My Fitbit
My appetite is gone.
My Fitbit just gave me a heart rate notification. It's like, hey bud, you doing all right?
One of these stories will kill Alan. Which one will it be?
Oh my god. Okay.
Okay.
One more.
Last one. Julia, if that is your real name. What? Just what? The cloth puller can be used to treat people is the title of this story.
Okay. All right. Home stretch.
Mm-hmm. You ever see someone successfully pull a cloth or a towel off a table while there were loads of objects on the table? I have, and not just on tables. We as existential creatures have many layered cloths, so to speak, which the cloth puller can pull away, while objects are on top of you. These cloth pullers can be used to take away depression, anxiety, diseases, cancers, and even demonic possession.
Okay, stop.
That's a lot. That's a lot to take it. That's a lot. That's a lot to take it.
That is the most exposition in one paragraph, I think, humanly possible.
Mamma mia! I'm a turn into Charles Martinet.
Take me, for example. I was suffering from depression, and I went to the Middle East where I found one of these cloth pullers. The cloth puller first told me to lie down in a bed and covered me with a duvet.
I didn't think they would literally be cloth pullers.
He then put objects. It is entirely literal. It's literal.
They have to do the trick.
They literally make you a table. They literally make you a table, and then Peter Venkman comes in and says the flowers are still standing.
No. Oh no.
The cloth puller first told me to lie down in a bed and covered me with a duvet. He then put objects on top of the duvet while I was under it. He then pulled away the duvet, and I could feel the objects were still standing on top of me.
Fucking ta-da exorcisms.
This is the best.
This is my... Okay, I'm not going to break... I don't want to say it already, but I have a good feeling about this one. He didn't...
I know this premise has been explained in 2 paragraphs, but this premise is actually awesome.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Okay. He then touched both my trainers and somehow pulled away all of my clothes, and as I lay there naked, the objects were still standing up straight on me. My clothes were a large cloth now. Then he touched both my feet, and he pulled away all of my skin. My whole skin was now a cloth, and the objects were still standing up straight. Oh, it gets worse. This is great.
It's amazing.
Oh, my God. Oh.
He could see my organs, bones, the blood flowing within me, and I felt fine. Then he pulled away my bodily organs like a cloth, and the cloth puller was now at the spirit/soul section part of me. I felt like a ghost, and as I was floating in the air, the objects were still standing straight up. The flowers were still standing. He was fiddling around looking for my depression.
Come on, you saucy depression. I know you're in here somewhere.
The concept of fiddling around there is just got me. Okay.
I'm picturing, like, I know I've made this joke before, recently too, but I feel like now we're watching someone play Operation with your soul.
Yeah.
They got the little tweezers. They can't touch the sides. There you are, depression. Gotcha.
Oh.
The cloth puller found it and pulled it out. Oh, wait. Yeah. The cloth puller found it and pulled it out, and one of the objects started to shake a little, but luckily it didn't fall. If it had fallen, I would have been stuck with depression till the end of time. No medication or therapy would work. I mean, let's be real. Therapy helps, but it's not a cure.
Right.
Let's be real here, people.
Let's be real. Get under the duvet.
Get under the duvet. We're going to figure it. He then slided back my organs, skin, and clothes, but still making sure none of the objects would fall. He then put the duvet back in, and I was able to get up. My depression was gone. He held onto the cloth. That was my depression. Oh, sorry. That was...
That's fine.
I rushed ahead. Go ahead.
I stayed with him for a while to watch him work on other people. He was working on another person who possessed by a demon. Yep. He did everything he did with me, pulling cloth after cloth, while objects still stayed on top. When he got to the soul part, we could both see the demon as well. When the cloth puller tried to pull the demon cloth out, one of the objects fell. What a tragedy. And that's it.
Oh, we're done. We're done.
And you know what? This story is actually good.
I enjoyed this one quite a bit.
Like, as opposed to like all the other abrupt endings, what a tragedy there just like leaves us to imagine what happened if one of the objects falls during this procedure. And yeah, that's effective.
Yeah, it's good. Wow. It's couched in the same language as everything else, but what a concept, and then surprisingly well executed. I liked it, like unironically.
Yeah.
Wow.
How did we go so low and then end up here?
I'm glad we read them in the order that we did too. I literally verbatim reading them as Julia asked us to read them. You couldn't see it, but I'm doing big air quotes around Julia. The burden of proof falls on you, Julia.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there's no contest. That's the best one of the bunch. The rest of them have their moments, but that was definitely that was cool.
Except the fingernails one. I didn't.
Yeah, the fingernails one can go back.
Really did not care for that one.
No, me neither. The fingernails one can go back into the gloves. Put the gloves back on. That was remarkably short. Hey, Alan, thank you for enduring this with me.
Yeah, go fuck yourself.
Okay, I'll go do that. You want to do the plugs while I go see myself out?
Sure. Hey everyone, thanks for listening. If you like what we're doing here, you can subscribe to the Creative Horror Patreon, where you can hear all sorts of bonus content, including Choice Dregs, which is the thing before the thing. Thank you for joining us. I love you. I love you. I want to give you. I'm gonna give you a little kiss now. Just wait for it. Here comes the little kiss. You ready? That was the little kiss.
Good evening, intrepid listeners. This is the Pasta Shade, the host of Midnight Marinara, and this podcast is part of CreativeHorror.com, a network of podcasts and creators working together to build a constructive community of horror fans. For more content like this, visit us at CreativeHorror.com.